So now let's review homework exercise number 2, where the objective here is to identify the type of claim in each of the sentences. We want to know whether the claim here in the statement is a factual claim, a value claim, or a policy claim. Okay? So number 1, Ted Williams was the last major league player to hit over 400. So you'd be looking at this and you say, okay, well, maybe everybody in the world knows this, but it would be the kind of thing that you might, for instance, argue in a bar room if you're having a sports argument. So we'll take it for now to be a claim, right? But what kind of a claim is it? Is it a factual claim, a value claim, or a policy claim? And in this case, the answer is it's a factual claim. It might be true, it might be false, right? But you can go and look this up. You can look in a sports encyclopedia. You can look on the internet. You can find, indeed, that Ted Williams was the last major league player to hit over 400. Nobody has done it since, so it is a factual claim. In this case, a historical claim, or the variety of factual claim that we call historical. Number 2, UNH should require wearing of protective masks everywhere on campus. So this would be what we call a policy claim, and the clue here is the word should. You'll notice if you look at the word should, that tells us that we're recommending an action step, and that's usually a pretty good clue that we have a policy claim, right? It's recommending that we make a change in the current policy, in this case requiring protective masks, and so that's the policy claim. Number 3, Osama bin Laden is alive. Now, of course, there were many news reports about the capture and death of Osama bin Laden and his subsequent burial at sea by the United States Navy. And there's not a lot of reason to distrust those news reports and the official government explanation. So if somebody said Osama bin Laden is alive, it would be immediately doubted and controversial, obviously a claim, but what kind of a claim is it, right? In this case, again, it's a factual claim. He either is alive or he isn't alive. He's alive or he's dead, but it's a factual question. It's a factual claim that's being made here. Number 4, Contagion is the best pandemic movie of all time. Perhaps you've seen Contagion, I think it was 2011, starring Matt Damon. Contagion is the best pandemic movie of all time. And here we have a value claim. And what's the clue? We see the value assessment, best. That tells us it's very likely a value claim. We're making a value judgment about a certain category of Hollywood films, saying Contagion is the best of the pandemic movies. Number 5, War of the Worlds will win the Emmy for Best Television Drama. Perhaps you've seen the new series on the Epix streaming service, right? War of the Worlds. But in any case, if we say War of the Worlds will win the best Emmy for Best Television Drama, you might think, okay, well, last one we had best, so that was a value statement. This has best in it, so it's a value statement also. However, the best here simply refers to the category of the Emmy Award. And in this case, you notice it doesn't say we think or our opinion is that War of the Worlds is the best. It says War of the Worlds will win. That is a predictive claim, right? And so if we understand this as a predictive claim, it is a variety of factual claim. It's a fact claim. We don't know whether it's true or false. We eventually will find out whether War of the Worlds wins an Emmy or not. But for now, it's predictive and so factual. Number 6, students who use obscene cheers at hockey games should be expelled. Right? There's been controversy about this over the years, various attempts by the athletic department and UNH administration to sort of tone down the obscenities by the student section at hockey games. Maybe a severe penalty like expulsion would get that done. But what we're asking about here is, what kind of a claim is this? If someone put forward the proposal that says students who use obscene cheers at hockey games should be expelled, what kind of a claim is that? And again, we look here at the word should and the fact that the statement is recommending a course of action, and that tells us this is a policy claim. Number 7. Academic dishonesty by students is never justified. Now, notice here we don't recommend a particular course of action. We're not saying students who cheat should be expelled or suspended or anything like that. It's simply making a value judgment that this kind of thing is never justified. There are no circumstances that make this justifiable. That's a value claim, right? So we're making a question about whether this is good, bad, moral, immoral, right, wrong. Those are all value judgments. And in this case, we say it's never justified. That's a value claim. President Trump will be reelected by a landslide. Here again, this is kind of like the item on predicting War of the Worlds will win the Emmy, right? We're not saying we think President Trump is a great president. We're not saying we think he's an awful president. We're not making any value judgment at all. We're only saying this is what I think is going to happen, right? And so it is a predictive claim, so it's in the factual category. It's a factual claim. LeBron James is overrated. Well, besides being true, this is a value claim, right? So here we can clearly see that we're making a value judgment. Overrated would be a value judgment, measuring perhaps the talent of LeBron James against other basketball players, either in the NBA now or historically, and drawing the conclusion that we believe he's overrated. And so that's a value judgment, making this a value claim. Number 10, the coronavirus pandemic began in a lab in Wuhan, China. Okay? May or may not be true. Some people say it began in the wet market in Wuhan when somebody ate a raw bat or something like that. But in any case, if I made this statement, I would be making a factual claim. I don't know for sure. I might have to provide evidence to prove it's true, but it's a question of did it happen or didn't it happen? And so in this case, we have a factual claim, in this case of the historical variety. The United States should sue China for the damages from the pandemic. Here again, you see the clue in the word should that tells us we are recommending a policy. It is a policy claim. We're recommending a course of action to be taken by the United States in suing China for damages, right? So that recommendation we take as a policy claim. Number 12, Daniel Webster was born in Nebraska. Well, this would be a historical claim. It's factual, but it's in fact false. Daniel Webster was not born in Nebraska. In fact, Nebraska did not exist when Daniel Webster was born. Webster, in fact, was born right here in New Hampshire. But whether it's true or false doesn't matter. What matters is that it's making a claim that's of the factual variety. It's either true or false, and it refers to something that happened in the past, so it's historical. It is a factual claim. Number 13, the Air France crash was due to catastrophic mechanical failure. Notice was due, that gives you a clue, right? It's expressing a causal relationship between catastrophic mechanical failure and the crash of the plane. And so when you have a causal explanation like that, you are making a factual claim of the causal variety. So this is a factual claim. Number 14, the latest tuition increase is unjustified. Again, just like the previous one, we talked about cases of student cheating being never justified. This is a value claim, right? So the latest tuition increase is unjustified. The key thing here is notice we're not saying should be repealed or should be opposed or that should be refunded or something like that. All of those would be policy claims, but we've not gone that far. We've only gone as far here as making the value judgment about its unjustified nature. Number 15, sorry dude, the Spice Girls just aren't cool anymore. Here again, another value claim. Sorry if you like the Spice Girls, but the claim that they just aren't cool is a value judgment. It's saying, in effect, I'm measuring the quality, the worth, the merit of this early 90s or mid 90s sort of girl group from England, and I'm saying they're just not cool anymore. Cool being, of course, a kind of vague level of value, but nevertheless just a value judgment about the quality or merit of the Spice Girls. Number 16, the melons didn't grow because there was too much rainfall in June. So here again, because tells you, now in this case, because isn't used here as an indicator of arguing, but it's saying there is a cause. That is, this is a causal claim. It's telling us the reason why the melons didn't grow. And because it's a causal claim, it goes in that factual claim category. It's a claim about the fact of why the melons didn't grow. Number 17, we should impose more sanctions against Russia. Here again, the should tells you, and you can use other words like ought to, right? But we should impose, that tells us this is a policy claim. It's a recommendation of state action to be taken against the nation of Russia. Number 18, Guinness is a superb beer of outstanding quality. Well, of course we know that's true, but apart from it being true, it's also obviously a value claim. It's making a value judgment about the quality, the merit, the worth, the value of Guinness as a beer, right? Number 19, Joe Biden was a poor choice as a Democratic nominee. Now here notice, of course, we're not recommending that we should vote for or against Joe Biden. We're not making, in other words, a policy claim. We're only assessing the value of the choice made by the Democratic Party, saying it's a poor choice. And in that case, we have a value claim. And then finally, number 20, there should be much tighter gun control in America, right? So here, obviously, again, we're making a policy recommendation. You could agree or disagree with this. It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. What we need to do here is simply recognize that this is a policy claim. It's recommending a change in the current status quo. You would align yourself for or against that proposal, but in doing so, you would be recognizing this is a policy claim. So that's exercise 2. If you have questions about any of the items here, post them on the discussion board.